In one of the most unexpected political developments of the season, New York Assembly member Zohran Mamdani has found himself at the center of a breaking update that is sending tremors across New York City's political foundation. What started as whispers about a new direction inside his office has now erupted into a full-blown discussion about a transition team, a surprising strategic shift, and the shocking revelation of a private meeting involving figures close to Donald Trump. For many New Yorkers, the very idea of Mamdani, one of the city's boldest progressive voices, being linked to a conversation associated with Trump's network is enough to make them pause, question, and brace for whatever is coming next. And today, we are diving into every detail: the political ripples, the hidden meanings, the behind-the-scenes tension, and what these moves could signal for the future of New York City. Zohran Mamdani, known nationally for his unapologetic advocacy for immigrant communities, tenant protections, police reform, and economic justice, has always represented the future of progressive New York. His rise was fueled by grassroots organizing, loud public activism, and a reputation for challenging the political establishment head-on. But now, in a moment where every political move is being watched under a microscope, Mamdani appears to be stepping into a different kind of leadership, one that requires strategy, negotiation, and making decisions that affect the entire city, not just one district. That is why the formation of a transition-style team is raising eyebrows. This is not something you do casually. This is something political figures do when they prepare for a shift in power, a change in responsibilities, or a new arena of political influence that demands structure, planning, and internal reorganization. Insiders report that Mamdani's team has quietly added new advisors, policy researchers, and communication strategists, people who specialize in crisis management, federal relations, and large-scale city planning. These are not the usual additions you make unless you're getting ready for something major, and that's where the story takes a dramatic turn. Sources say that members from a political circle with connections to Trump's advisory network were involved in a discreet meeting that touched on topics many didn't expect to see discussed with someone like Mamdani. The topics allegedly ranged from federal budget allocations affecting New York City, to the migrant crisis straining city resources, to the ongoing battles over housing funding and social program cuts. While Mamdani himself has not confirmed the nature of the meeting, the timing, paired with the sudden shift in his internal structure, is enough to spark speculation. For New Yorkers who have followed Mamdani's career, this crossover is almost surreal. A progressive leader known for fierce opposition to Trump-era policies now finds himself in a room where, whether willingly or strategically, he's forced to confront the new political reality Washington is creating. But the truth is simple: New York City is entering a moment of political pressure, unlike anything it has experienced in decades. Federal funding is uncertain, tensions between state and national leadership are rising, and city leaders, regardless of their ideological alignment, are being forced into conversations they never imagined they'd have to entertain. This is not about agreement. This is about survival, negotiation, and protecting New Yorkers from the fallout of national decisions. Political analysts are already dissecting the situation. Some believe Mamdani's involvement in discussions connected to Trump's network signals that he is being pulled into the larger machinery of citywide political responsibility. Others say it's evidence that he is being groomed, positioned, or at least tested for a potential future role that requires him to navigate both progressive priorities and federal power structures. And then there are those who think Mamdani is strategically inserting himself into these rooms because he understands that the only way to defend his community is to confront the system directly, even if that means sitting across from people he fundamentally disagrees with. Meanwhile, the creation of a transition-style team is sparking even more theories. Is Mamdani preparing for a future citywide campaign, perhaps an attempt to shift into municipal leadership? Is he building infrastructure to withstand the political pressure New York is about to face? Or is he simply preparing for a broader role in state-level negotiations as New York braces for federal policy changes? Whatever the case, this kind of restructuring doesn't happen randomly. It signals intention, preparation, and a desire to be ready for the next phase of political battles that are undoubtedly coming. As tensions rise, New Yorkers are split. Supporters see Mamdani's moves as a sign that he's stepping ready to defend vulnerable communities on a larger stage. They believe that if conversations with Trump-linked figures happened, Mamdani likely confronted the issues head-on, challenging narratives and fighting for the interests of the city. Critics, however, worry that entering these rooms could compromise progressive values or signal political pressure that forces Mamdani into corners he does not want to be in. They argue that conversations with Trump-adjacent groups rarely come without strings attached, and that the public deserves transparency about what was discussed, why it happened, and what it means. But beyond the speculation, one reality stands out. New York City is facing a turning point. The migrant crisis has stretched the city's resources to the breaking point. Housing affordability is spiraling downward. Public schools, hospitals, safety programs, and community support infrastructures are at risk of funding cuts depending on the decisions made in Washington. These pressures are forcing leaders like Mamdani into a new political environment, one that demands negotiation, confrontation, and strategic positioning at the highest levels. And that is why this breaking update matters so much. Mamdani's involvement in transition planning and federal-related discussions could reshape how New York responds to crises in the coming year. It could influence the direction of city budgeting, the future of migrant support systems, the stability of tenant protections, and NYC's overall relationship with the incoming federal administration. The stakes have never been higher, and the people of New York know it. Every move Mamdani makes from this point forward will be watched, analyzed, and dissected, not just by political insiders, but by ordinary New Yorkers who want to know whether their leaders are prepared for the battles ahead. As this story unfolds, one thing is absolutely certain. Zohran Mamdani is no longer just a local assembly member fighting district-level battles. He is becoming a central figure in the larger political story of New York City. A story filled with tension, shifting alliances, unexpected conversations, and monumental decisions that could define the next chapter of the city's future. And the coming weeks may reveal more twists, more revelations, and more political moves than anyone expected. The city is watching, the country is watching, and the next update could change everything.